Hello there. As you can tell from the title, today's video is going to be another what I eat in a week video, which if you watched the last one of these a couple of weeks ago, you'll already know what it's all about. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory anyway. But me and my boyfriend have basically been filming everything we've been eating over the past couple of days. So basically just like dinners and a couple of lunches. I'm not sure how many meals are going to be in this total, but obviously it'll say in the title. I think it'll be about 7-ish. Everything is vegan. So we've been vegan for like 3-ish months now, I want to say, and we're really enjoying like eating vegan food and making vegan meals. These are all my boyfriend's recipes as well. As you guys know, he is an incredible cook. We got really good feedback on the last one of these, so I thought I would film another one. If you want any other like specific food videos, then do let me know, because I feel like you guys are really enjoying them, or at least they seem to be doing pretty well on my channel. So yes. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to try and put the recipes on the screen at the start of each meal as well, just so it's like a little bit easier for you guys to follow and like screenshot if you want to recreate anything yourself. And if you do, please tag me and show me, because I love seeing you guys like recreate the meals that we've been having. So yeah, I think that's everything. I really hope you guys enjoy, and let's go. Okay, first up we've got chicken tacos, which are super easy to make and also perfect for lunch or like a really light dinner. So we're actually going to start this one the night before, just so that the chicken can marinate overnight. So this is everything that we're using to season the chicken. So you can use whatever you want for this. You could also just use like a ready-made like chili con carne seasoning, or like a taco seasoning mix, or whatever you want to do, it's perfectly fine. So we're just going to measure this out into a bag with the chicken, which we're using Vivera chicken. It's literally the best chicken substitute that we found. It's really yummy. So we're adding all of that and some lemon, a little bit of like salt and pepper and stuff, and obviously some oil as well. And then you just want to shake it all up and leave it in the fridge. It's not necessary to do this overnight. Obviously the longer you can do this for, the better, but if you just want to do it for a couple of hours the same day, that's fine. And then for the salsa, this is everything that we're using. So red chilies, pepper, tomatoes. We're also using pineapple, so it's going to be kind of like a pineapple salsa. So you just want to cut everything into kind of like small chunks. You want everything to be kind of like a similar size. We did leave the tomatoes a little bit bigger, but it's kind of just personal choice how big you want everything. And then we're going to add a little bit of lime zest as well, so just grating that in, and also popping some coriander in, as well as a little bit of like salt and pepper and stuff. And you kind of just want to mix it all together and leave that to the side for about 30 minutes just to sit. We are adding a little bit of olive oil to it as well, so just kind of mix it all together and leave it in a bowl to the side, and that is that done. It's really simple and easy to make, and again, you can put anything you want in that. Pineapple just adds a really nice sweetness to it. And then we're making kind of like an avocado crema, I guess you would call it. This is so delicious. I'm obsessed with this. I feel like I'm about to have this on everything, and it's so easy to make. So you just want to take some avocado, we're using 2, and you're just going to put everything in a blender. So the Oatly Creme fresh, the avocado, the coriander, we're also adding a little bit of mint, and obviously some salt and pepper as well, and just blend it up, and it is done. So easy. Also add lemon, sorry, I think I forgot that. Add some lemon, really fresh and really yummy. And then all that's left to do is pretty much just cook the chicken. So we're just going to cook that in, it's actually already got oil in, so we just put it straight in the pan. You just want to cook that until it's done, however long it says on the packet, and then pretty much everything is good to go. You can just heat up your tacos and then just kind of like plate it how you want. Really yummy, really easy, and it makes it a really nice light summer lunch. Next up, we've got tomato and basil pasta, which I have to say is probably my favorite pasta ever. It is so fresh and so delicious, and again, really simple. So you just want a little bit of oil. The tomatoes that we're using are San Marzano tomatoes. I think that's how you pronounce it. Really important. These are so delicious and really good tomatoes to use for this pasta. And then you just want some tomato puree, basil, garlic, and some chili flakes. So you want to start by putting the garlic in. The pan is cold. We've just put the heat on, and the oil is cold as well. So we're basically going to cook the garlic and bring the heat up. You can see there the oil is starting to sizzle, and when that happens, you can add in some basil stems. Really great for flavor, and they can kind of like cook for a little bit longer than the actual basil leaf. So adding those in now, and then we're also going to add in some chili flakes, again for flavor, kind of optional, but it's just really yummy. And then we're basically just going to cook all this, and it's kind of going to infuse with the oil and just taste delicious. And then next you want to add in your tomato puree, and we are going to cook this out for a good few minutes. It just kind of gets rid of any like tartness that the tomato puree has and just makes it a lot sweeter and a lot yummier, which is great. Once that's cooked out for a few minutes, you can add your tomatoes in, and we are keeping the vine on them. Again, just adds a really nice flavor, and it's really easy to take off once it's all cooked down, so don't worry about that. So we're just going to pop those in and kind of let the skin blister a little bit, kind of just like sear the tomatoes off. And then once that's done, it takes about 5 minutes, you can add in your wine. We're seasoning as well throughout, and you just want to make sure that the alcohol is kind of cooked out before you do anything else. So once the alcohol has cooked out, you can add in your water, and that is pretty much done. It's a really, really easy sauce to do. You can just put the lid on your pan and just leave it to simmer on a low heat for about 30 minutes, and then this is what it'll look like once that's done. So just really delicious. All the tomatoes cook down and all the juices come out, and it's just amazing. So you can go ahead and pop that to the side in a bowl, and then all that's left to do is cook your pasta. So you want to add your sauce in just before the pasta is like at the al dente phase, just so that when you cook it with the sauce and also add the basil in, you can cook it for a few more minutes and it won't be overcooked. So once that's all done and you've cooked it in the sauce for a little bit longer, you can serve it and put some fresh basil on the top, and you are all done. Next up is kind of like a beef style lettuce wrap. So again, this just makes a really great lunch or a really good like light snack. So really simple. You just want some chilies, some ginger and garlic. We're using some more tomatoes, some pink slaw to go on at the end, and then just like the mince, lettuce, some choy, some Thai basil, spring onions. I will list like the whole ingredient list down below because I realize it's quite long, but it is really simple to make, which is great. So this is basically everything that we're putting in, some sugar and salt and pepper as well. So you just want to go ahead and chop up all of your ingredients. So we've got the choy som, basil, spring onions, garlic, chilies and tomatoes and all of that. The first thing we're going to do is actually cook the mince, which again, it is by Vivera. Absolutely love that brand. They make really good plant-based meat substitutes. So you just want to cook that in your pan, your wok, whatever you're using, and we're just going to use a little bit of salt and pepper and a tiny little bit of oil as well. You can use fry light if you don't want to use oil, and we're just cooking this first just so that it stays nice and crispy whilst we cook everything else. So you can just go ahead and put that in a bowl to the side once it's done, and then we're going to start cooking the rest of the veg. So you just want to start off with your spring onions and your garlic and ginger. So we're just going to pop that in, not too hot because you don't want to burn the garlic or anything, and just start cooking that down. Next, we're going to add in the stems of the choy som and also the tomatoes. Again, you can just add whatever you want to this. You don't have to use the exact same veg that we're using. Just anything that you have in the fridge that you want to put in is absolutely fine, but you obviously just want to put stuff in the order that it needs to cook. So after that, we're going to add the meat back in, and we're going to add a little bit of soy sauce. To be honest, our meat after this was a little bit too salty. We put too much soy sauce in, so just be careful of that. We're also adding a little bit of vegetable stir fry sauce, which is really, really yummy and really sweet. And then we are going to put a little bit of sugar in as well, just to kind of like balance out the sweetness and saltiness, if you get what I'm trying to say. So just add whatever you want into flavor, and then we're going to carry on cooking that with the meat and all of the vegetables together. And then we're going to go ahead and add the Thai basil and the leaves of the choy som, just because they only take like a couple of minutes to cook. So that's what goes in last. And yeah, it's just a really simple kind of just like a little stir fry situation on the go. So you just want to carry on cooking that until it is all done, and then you can go ahead and plate it on your lettuce wrap. So we're just using a baby gem lettuce, and then we're going to top it off with a little bit of the pink slaw, and you're pretty much done. It's a really simple and easy light lunch. Okay, we've got another pasta. This is more of like a creamy pasta with some asparagus. It's so delicious. So again, I will list the full ingredients list down below in the description bar. Here it is on screen just so that you can see exactly what we're using. But it's basically just going to be asparagus with kind of like a creamy garlic sauce and some linguine. So the first thing we're going to do is roast the garlic in the oven. This goes in at about 180, and you can kind of just like cook it in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes. We overcooked ours a little bit, so just be wary of how long it goes in for. Just kind of gives it a really nice smoky flavor. So we're just adding a little bit of oil and also a little bit of smoked salt. You can just use normal salt if you want to. We're also going to roast the garlic in the oven as well, because as I said, we're doing kind of like a creamy garlic sauce. So you just want to take some cloves of garlic, wrap them in some foil and pop them on the tray. These do take a little bit longer to cook, so they'll be in for about 15 to 20 minutes, but this is what they'll look like when they come out. So you just kind of want them to be soft all the way through. It'll basically form kind of like a garlic paste, which will be the base for the sauce. It's really delicious and really sweet. So you can go ahead and just cut up your asparagus. You can leave them whole if you want to, but we're just cutting them up so that we can add them in at the end. This is kind of where we overcook them a little bit, because we do put them in at the end just to cook them in the sauce as well. So you don't want them to be like too soft. Ours kind of were, but it's fine. And then you can just go ahead and start cooking the linguine. So we're just putting it in some boiling salted water, and then all that's left to do is the sauce. So we're just going to use a little bit of oil. Again, if you don't want to use oil, it's fine. You can use fry light or whatever you want to. We're going to put the garlic in first and kind of just cook that off a little bit with the oil, just on kind of like a lowish, like medium, kind of like a medium heat, shall we say. You want to make sure you're seasoning throughout as well. So just add in salt and pepper when needs be. And then once that is cooked down a little bit, we're going to add the white wine in. So again, just kind of cooking this down until the alcohol has cooked out, but obviously like the flavor of the wine is still there. And then once that's done, we're going to go ahead and add the cream and also a little bit of nutritional yeast as well. So we're not going to add a lot of cream. We do add little bits here and there as we go through. I think we end up using about a quarter of the pot, but you don't need a lot at all. So just like a little bit, and then also some nutritional yeast, which is optional, but just kind of adds to the flavor and also has vitamins, which is great. And then of course you want to add a little bit of lemon, and then also a little bit of pasta water as well, which will basically just help to thicken up the sauce and make it nice and creamy. So pretty simple to make, as you can see. You just want to again keep cooking that for a few more minutes. We do add a little bit more cream here as well. You can kind of just taste throughout, and whatever it needs, just add a little bit more of that. It's completely like personal preference. Once you're happy with the sauce, you can go ahead and add the linguine in. So again, you want to do this just before the al dente stage, so just before it's kind of almost done, if that makes sense, just because it will cook further in the sauce. So you can just go ahead and cook that for a few more minutes, and we are going to add the asparagus back in as well. And I think we do add a tiny little bit more of cream in. Like I said, you can just kind of taste it and whatever it needs, like if it needs a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, you can just add whatever you like. And then once that is all done, you're pretty much finished. So you can go ahead and place it, and yeah, it is delicious and I love it. Okay, on to one of my favorite things to eat right now. Honestly, we've had this like 3 times the past couple of weeks. I'm just obsessed with it. So this is duck fried rice. This is everything that we're using here. You can again just include whatever vegetables you want with this. The duck that we're using is by Linda McCartney, and it is suitable for vegans, which is amazing. So just using like spinach, onions, and then we're going to create a sauce with some soy sauce, some hoisin, and some vegetable stir fry sauce as well. So this is pretty much everything there. The first thing we're going to do is kind of like dry out the pink sauce. So we buy this from Tesco, in case anyone wants to know. It's quite vinegary, so it depends like how you want the fried rice to taste, but we didn't want it too vinegary, so we just dried it out with some kitchen roll. Just an optional thing to do. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. And then you can go ahead and get everything prepped on your chopping board. We're going to make the sauce quickly just so that it can sit at the side. So we're just using the vegetable stir fry sauce, which you don't need to use. We've actually made it since with twice the amount of hoisin, and it tastes so much better. So you can just use twice the amount of hoisin and it'll be fine. Some soy sauce, some sesame oil, and then also a little bit of white pepper and some salt. So the first thing we're going to do is just cook the duck, because again, you want to keep this nice and crispy. So we're going to cook this first and then just set it to the side once it's done. You can use whatever you want for this. You don't have to use the duck. You could do like chicken pieces instead if you wanted to, but you just want to cook that as per what the packaging says, and then just leave it to the side. We're not going to add any sauce or anything to it yet. And then we're going to start cooking the veg. So we're just using the stems of the spring onions first, and also the garlic and the ginger. We're going to save leave the like tops of the spring onion right for the end, so just using the stems first. And then once that's cooked, we're going to add in the broccoli. So after a couple of minutes, once the garlic, ginger and onion is all done, you can pop the broccoli in because that will take the longest amount of time next. You just want to stir that in, and then we are going to add some water as well just to help cook the broccoli a little bit quicker. It doesn't actually take very long to cook in the wok either, so just add in the water just to help it cook. And everything in this like dish is done on quite a high heat because it's a fried rice, so you want the heat quite high at all times. After the broccoli is cooked, you can go ahead and add in the pink slaw. I'm obsessed with this stuff at the minute. It's so yummy. We put it on the lettuce wraps as well before. It's just really, really good, and it comes ready-made at Tesco, which is amazing. So once we've added that in, we're going to go ahead and add the rice in. I did have to switch to my phone at this point, so I'm sorry about the quality. My camera died, but we're just going to add the rice in and just kind of flatten that out. We're just using like microwave rice, but not microwaving it, just putting it straight in the pan and cooking that for a couple of minutes. And then we did add the duck back in after this clip as well, which I don't have a clip of for some reason, but we added the duck back in here, and then we start to add in the sauce. So pretty much everything is in at this point. You can go ahead and add your sauce and just kind of mix it all together, make sure everything is coated in the sauce, and then cook it for a little bit longer as well. We're then just going to go ahead and add in the baby spinach. We just chopped that up and popped it in. Obviously it doesn't take too long to cook, so we're just adding that at the end, and also the rest of the spring onions. And then everything is pretty much done. You can just go ahead and cook it for a couple more minutes and then just plate it in a bowl. Honestly, I'm obsessed with this. You guys need to try this. It's so delicious, and it doesn't take long at all to cook just because everything gets thrown in the wok on a really high heat and it's all done. Next up, we've got vegan spaghetti bolognese, or it's kind of like inspired by spaghetti bolognese. Again, this is really simple and really easy to make, and probably one of my favorite pasta dishes ever. So this is everything that we're going to use. We actually forgot to put the carrot in, so feel free to add the carrot. We just kind of forgot to chop it up and put it in. So basically just using like onion, celery and garlic for the base. You want your meat, which we're using Naked Glory, and then some tomatoes and pesto and all of that good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and put some oil in the pan. We chopped up the onion, the celery and the garlic. So we're starting off with the onion in the pan just because that takes a little bit longer to cook. So just going to cook that for a couple of minutes and then add the celery in. Again, cook it for a few more minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and add the garlic in last because you don't want the garlic to burn. We're not using too much garlic either. I don't think it's necessarily like a traditional ingredient to put in a spaghetti bolognese, but I just love garlic. So we're just going to cook all of that down and then add the meat in. Honestly, it really shocks me like how much this actually looks like meat. It just, I don't know, it just tastes really meaty. The texture's really good. Really love the Naked Glory line as well. So popping that in and just breaking it up with the spoon, and then we're going to add the tomato puree in now. So just want to go ahead and mix all of that together and cook it together with a little bit of salt and pepper. After about 5-10 minutes max, this is kind of what it's looking like, and we're going to add the white wine in. You could also add red wine if you want to as well. It just kind of depends what taste you want. So we're just adding that in, and then we're going to go ahead and put the plum tomatoes in. Again, if you want to replace that for chopped tomatoes, that's absolutely fine. Just add like whatever you've got in and whatever you can, I don't know, get your hands on at the minute. So we're just putting that in, and we also filled the can up with some water and put some water in there too, and then just added a little bit of salt. So that is pretty much it. Oh, sorry, forgot the pesto, my bad. You want to add the pesto in. It just helps to add some flavor and also thickens everything up a bit. And then we do also add some bay leaves as well for flavor. So I'm pretty sure this is it. Yeah, we're gonna put the pan on, put the lid on, and just set it to the side to simmer for about 30-ish minutes. And then in the meantime, you can go ahead and cook your pasta. So once that's done, all you want to do is add the meat, I guess, to the pasta. Again, you want to make sure that you cook it in with the pasta just to kind of help infuse everything together. Cook it for a few more minutes and it is done. It is so simple and so easy, really delicious. We also made homemade garlic bread with this, and I'm obsessed. I just love it so much. So you can just pop that in a dish and you are all done. Okay, last pasta dish of this video. I realize there's been a lot of pasta in this video, but honestly, it's what I eat on a regular basis. I'm just obsessed. So this one's a little bit different. We're making like a scallop styled pasta with some king oyster mushrooms. So this is everything that we're using. Again, it'll be in the description bar down below. We actually had some wild garlic to use for this as well, which is what those leaves are. I just picked it from my garden at home at my mum and dad's house when I went to pick some stuff up. So to start off, we're just gonna take the king oyster mushrooms and basically just top and tail them, like chop the top and the bottom off, and then kind of just chop them into 3 pieces. That's kind of like a nice size for the scallops. And then you just want to go ahead and score them both ways, just really gently with the knife. You don't want to do it too deep. Just kind of helps to, it looks really great, so it's great for the appearance, and it also helps to absorb flavor and just kind of like helps to sear them a little bit in the pan as well. So you just want to do that to all of your scallops, and then you can go ahead and just chop up the tops of the mushrooms as well, because we are going to make use of those and still put them in the sauce. We're also just thinly slicing some garlic. We were going to put onion in this, but we decided not to, so I realized it was in the clip at the start, but we didn't add any onion in the end. So the first thing we're going to do, you're just going to take a pan, put some oil, fry light, whatever you want in. You want it nice and hot, just so that the mushrooms can really like sear in the pan. They only take a couple of minutes each side, so you just want to keep an eye on them so that they don't overcook. So once they're done, you can just flip them over and cook them on the other side. And then we are actually going to add in the rest of the mushrooms at this point as well, just to get them cooking as well. Once the like scallop style mushrooms are done, you can go ahead and just pop those on a plate, and we're going to add those back into the pasta later on. So this is what they look like. They actually look really good, and they taste really yummy as well, which is amazing if you like mushroom, that is, which we do. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the linguine into some boiling salted water and get that cooking. The rest of the mushrooms are still in this pan cooking away. We have actually turned the heat down at this point, just because we're adding the garlic in now, and you don't want the garlic to burn. It can burn like really quickly, especially when it's really thinly sliced. So just on a lower heat, we're going to go ahead and cook the garlic, and then we're going to add in some wine. As I've said throughout this video, when adding the wine, you just want to give that a good few minutes to cook, just so that the alcohol can all cook out and you're just left with the really lovely flavor. Whilst that's doing its thing, we're just going to chop up the wild garlic. So if you don't have any wild garlic to use, then feel free to just replace it with whatever. So you could use some parsley, you could use some thyme. Thyme goes really well with mushrooms. Just whatever you want to put in is fine. We're just kind of like wrapping the leaves all together and then thinly slicing it, just to add in to the sauce. So once the wine is cooked out, we're going to add in a little bit of cream. Again, you don't want to go too crazy with the cream. You can always add more in if needs be. Personally, I just don't like when pasta is like too thick and creamy, so we just start with a little and then add more if needs be. And then we're going to add in the wild garlic here as well, so it's kind of like a creamy garlicky mushroom sauce. You can then just go ahead and add a little bit of pasta water. Again, that just helps to thicken up the sauce and make it really yummy. We did add some tomatoes in. I wouldn't recommend doing this again. We kind of didn't really like the tomatoes in this particular pasta, so I would just skip this step. If you want to include them, it's fine, but if we were to do it again, we probably won't put them in. And then we're just adding the pasta in just before it's done, pretty much, so that we can cook it in the sauce and it won't be overcooked. So yeah, you can just go ahead and start cooking that all together with the sauce. To finish off, we're just going to add a little bit of lemon juice, like freshly squeezed lemon. And then we did also have a garlic bread in the oven. I think we got this from Tesco. It was just like a gluten-free vegan garlic bread that we got. And then yeah, we just popped that in the oven to cook. And then to finish off the pasta, we just added in the scallops, cook those in the sauce for a good few minutes, and then you can go ahead and plate it with a little bit more wild garlic, parsley, whatever you want, and you're pretty much done. Really yummy, and yeah. Okay, last but not least, we have sausage and mash, which again is probably one of my favorite dishes in this whole video. I just love sausage and mash. I find it really homey and just like perfect for like a Sunday dinner or something. So this is everything we're using. We're doing baby carrots and broccoli for the veg. We're going to do mash. We're going to use the Naked Glory vegan sausages, and we're going to do some homemade, like from scratch, onion gravy. So first thing to do is put the carrots in, because they take about half an hour. So we're just putting them in at about 200. We've chopped and peeled the potatoes and put them in a pan, starting the water cold and then bringing the heat up, which is gonna start making our mash. And then you just want to cook these sausages first, because we're going to cook these and then basically leave them to the side once they're cooked and then add them back in with the gravy. So you just want to cook them as per what the packaging says, depends on what your sausages are, like what brand your sausages are. And then, like I said, just putting them on the side for a little bit to make the gravy. So you just want to start off by thinly slicing your onions. Honestly, it's a really simple gravy to make from scratch. So once those are sliced, you can just pop them in the pan with a little bit of oil, fry light, whatever it is, and we're just going to cook those down until they're nice and soft. And then we are going to add a little bit of vegan block as well, which we buy from Sainsbury's. You can probably get it from other supermarkets as well. It's kind of like a vegan butter substitute, just to make them nice and yummy and creamy, and as a little treat to have some butter. And then once the carrots are about 10 minutes before done, we're going to add some garlic, some thyme, and also add in the broccoli, and again just leave those all in the oven to cook, and that will pretty much be the veg done. Carrying on with the gravy, we're going to add a little bit of white wine to the onions, and again just cook the alcohol out. So after a couple of minutes, once that's done, you can add in some water and also a vegetable stock pot. So this is just going to add loads of yummy flavor and also help to thicken the gravy up a little bit. And then we're also going to finish it with a little bit of Bisto and probably just some salt and pepper, just some seasoning, whatever you want. You can then add the sausages back in at this point, and we're going to cook the sausages in that really yummy gravy. And then all that's left to do is finish the mash. So we're just using a little bit more vegan block and also some cream, just because we're being naughty and treating ourselves to some cream and butter for our mash. And that is pretty much done. Honestly, one of my favorite things to eat. It's a really like cozy, homey meal. And yeah, that is this video done. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you try any, and I'll see you in the next one.